All right. It's now time for raising funds for world domination, day number 178. So, for today's daily update, once again, the verdict came back from the tenor board, and long story short, we won, and that all the remaining, I think it was 17 remaining of the 30 overall tenants who are still here on the case. So it was dismissed by the tenant board, so we can stay here. And the LTB sent me an email confirmation that the case is closed. And then a couple days later, I learned that there's a possibility that the landlord may request an appeal or review. So there's I have no official information on that, but that'll presumably come soon. The next front is working on trying to ramp up some sales from the Shopify Store. The Google Merchant Center is still disabled. I was kind of waiting for some of the signals. There's some other stuff where it says like my return policy doesn't match, but then I updated it. I think that was more than 10 days ago now, so I don't know what's taking so long. I can do more review. I can request another review, and I gotta submit some ID and stuff like that, so I'll do that soon. I made 6 physical sales so far. Actually, that's a lie, because one of them, well, I'll ship it tomorrow. Canada Post is delivering mail again. Oh yeah, and I made a sale. I think it was, in fact, Limonite. The sponsored block type for Limonite sold last night. So I will get that added to the game shortly. And then I added 2 more today. 2. And this is getting more expensive now. $32. And that was for, I can't remember the names. One was like a German word for like it's iron oxide, and then the other one was an sulfur containing iron mineral. The next front is working on the marketing video. So let's go ahead and say 80%. And once I get, I guess, arbitrarily close enough to 100, I'll just have to cut off whatever I have and start recording that. I spent a bunch of time on a diagram to try and explain a difficult concept, which is how the bids work in the auction system for ads. So as for stuff to work on tonight, I guess we'll continue working on the block mining simulation game. So last night, I decided to change around how the scroll bar worked, because I had some issues and bugs with that, and then I realized that that's a bit of it's going to touch a lot of the aspects of that code, so I have to make a ton of adjustments to it. So let's check what it looks like now. So before, I was using the index, like an offset that was based on the index of the list item for determining like how far down you've scrolled. And that was problematic. That was problematic because when I reach the end of the list, what I want to do is kind of make it so that the last item is actually just flush with the bottom, because that's, I think, makes it a bit more intuitive, makes it look like an actual list. And then in the future, I may even add like the ability to scroll in both directions. Looks amazing. Excellent. Thank you. Yeah, it'll look even more amazing once I actually get this thing finished. So I guess where I left off last night was I think this this refactoring step was a good idea because it should actually simplify the code quite a bit more. So when we press up, so this will take care of scrolling up when the selected item is not visible on the top. I think I'll make my 4th devlog for my horror game today. Also started relearning C and C++. And GDScript using AI made me rusty. Can't put my own mind to use AI, to use an AI hallucinate. Yeah, that's the thing about using AI, is eventually you'll outsource everything to AI. remember your video in which you made a CPU, and another one in which you made a water-cooled PC. I know the how to make a CPU video, but water-cooled PC. I don't think that's me. Here's thinking about it. That's not right. I think it was another YouTuber who made the water-cooled PC. I don't know, maybe it was Linus Tech Tips. I assume he's made a lot of videos on that. That's not correct at all. All right, that's behaving reasonably well. Now let's fix the horizontal orientation. Wood chip says hello SIT. Hello there, wood chip. How's it going? Right, that's totally broken. Sir, okay, that makes more sense. Now I've got a bunch of subtle differences to synchronize between the vertical orientation and the horizontal one. Still broken. A for waifu says, your light rail train video. Light rail train video made by autism. Calm down. Should be a videographer. Light rail train video. Which video was that? I'm trying to think. I have a lot of videos now. Chris Bowden has a channel for mesmerizing mechanisms to calm that stuff down. Confirm some watch time. Yeah, I had thought about doing some like slow motion. Oh, you're loneliest. Oh yeah, yeah, that one. Yeah, actually, that video. When I filmed that one, I wanted to pick up like the ambience of the snow and stuff, and unfortunately, the microphone I used, I've learned a bunch about how. Actually, I have some better sound equipment, and I've learned a bit about using that microphone and stuff. The noise floor is actually quite high on that video, so there's actually a pretty high hiss on it, and it's only it's all in mono, but I have the equipment now and a much better preamp that would be that's going to be much more portable. I could probably do a few more videos like that. Yeah, I could probably do some like rants. I have like philosophical rants about AI and stuff. Trying to think of that video as well. Yeah, that's it's an interesting thought that I have enough videos that if someone mentions something in a video, I don't even remember which video it was. Reminds me of Minnesota wintertime. Yeah, I mean it's kind of a dumb video, but I feel like there's probably a lot of people who went to that university who would be able to, like, 20 years from now, they'll discover it, be like, I remember taking waiting in the snowstorm and the bus didn't come. Just watch the how to make CPU video. How did I not see that video before? Oh, that's it's nice. It's always nice to know there's still people finding that video for the first time. Sometimes I run out of content, so I just repost I do community posts and repost old stuff. And it's good to know that I can still repost that video and a few new people will see it, even though 15 million people already saw it. I think I have a good chance of picking up a software contract for a small local company. Have any suggestions or tips? Kind of had to guess on most of it. The business side is not my strongest. Well, you came to the right channel. I have a playlist. People ask me more or less similar questions. I have a playlist called, I think it's just called Software Consulting Business. If you check my channel for that, I have a bunch of videos that are specifically targeted at the relatively small audience of people who basically want to do what I effectively did, which is try to run my own one-person software consulting business. Yeah, there's maybe 5 or 6 videos in that playlist. Some of them don't have many views, but honestly, I say if you are starting that kind of business, probably all of them are equally important. In fact, maybe some of the ones with a small number of views is even more relevant. Actually, I should add, I forget, I've done some more business videos recently. I forget. These are brand new videos. Yeah, I think that some of the most recent videos I put into that playlist. There's a couple old ones, like about the contractor versus employee. Know the difference? Like that video is, I think it's like 8 minutes. You can put it on like 2 times speed if you want. And I think it's just, even if you're not really interested in that topic, it's probably good. You'll get something out of that video if you just put it on 2x speed. DIY deep pen approach to the CPU video was gold. Like anyone can simply just do it. I mean, if you put your mind to it, I mean, theoretically, you could just make your own CPUs at home. I do think that like Micron, like if you wanted to do your own photolithography with 50 micron size features, I think it is feasible to do that on your own. It would still be it would be challenging, but if your life depended on it, I think you could do it. I mean, if you get to like nanometer scale, that's where the physical constraints start to become like you have to start thinking about how light how light is a wave and stuff, interference patterns, and all the stuff about like getting the lens in focus, like all the lens imperfections become like incredibly important, and lens aberration and like vibration dampening and it's my favorite software contract. All right, let's fix my menu. Robert, do you sell the solution to a problem, or do you sell the work to be done? I got my PMP last month. As I remember you saying, effective management is in short supply, that a project manager will still be needed with some AI enhancement or replacement of IC labor. Do you sell a solution or to a problem, or do you sell the work to be done? Do you mean like for if you're trying to sell your services as an independent consultant, or like do you mean like in working at a company as like a management? I guess either way, what I found is like in terms of selling software development expertise, I found it very challenging to find like if you read up and yes, or the other commenters contracts. I found that like I knew early on, as soon as I started the business, that it would make sense to people want their problem solved. They don't want like kind of like the ultimate goal of the business is to make money, to do something useful for the world or for even for your own interests. So I was well aware that you need to like market for solving people's problems as opposed to the kind of micro-managed aspect of saying like, hey, I do stuff for X dollars per hour. But one of the problems I found was that often the problems, like the actual problems that companies have, are so complex. Not like technically complex, but they're in a business sense, they're complicated. Like the businesses don't even understand what the problem is that they have. Like I did work with one company where, in looking at some of the other work they did, like they had some issue with like trying to smooth out some data, and they hired some guy to like build this like advanced function to like write like a signal filter stuff on this when he could have just done like a moving average or something. And let's see, one of the things they wanted to reduce the cost of their data usage, but in like trying to fix the main problem, often you'll find that the company has like a ton of other problems. In the process of fixing those problems, like they'll sell you the problem as being one thing, but like they want to use less data for this communication. So like, oh, what we need is like a really good compression algorithm, or we need to like evaluate how to pack the data tighter or something. But then when you look at the project, you find that their software is full of bugs, and the reason that there's tons of like data being wasted is because the software has bugs in it. So it's like it's setting up all these connections it doesn't need to, and then you start to talk to the team, and you realize that the reason there's already a fix for this problem, but they can't deploy the fix because they're waiting on someone else's work to get finished. So it's like to fix your problem, you basically have to drive and bug someone else to fix their problem in the company. And that's actually, I think, a pretty common theme, is that you'll think it's just about doing the work, but in reality, it's about you have to go into the company and then get two people in the company to talk to each other, and they are not good at talking to each other. So you have to like force them to get into a meeting room and then state the definition of the problem and say like, okay, you have this goal and the other person has this goal, and then figure out how to convince those other people just to finish doing their own work or deploy it. Or someone might have a grand vision where they're like, okay, this is part of long-term work where we'll do this next month, but there's a small part of that feature that someone else depends on. So we need to figure out like how do you get this one API out tomorrow, because there's a whole bunch of work depending on this, but they want to release that one API endpoint with like 15 other API endpoints because it's all related. And so choreographing that stuff is difficult. And that's especially true like if you're coming in as like an independent consultant, because often the management people who are hiring you have absolutely no clue at all how their own product or service works. And because realistically, if they did know, they probably wouldn't be hiring you. So it's kind of a catch-22 that way. Hackmatrix says, hello, Robert. Happens a lot at AWS. That's what the managers are for. Yeah, I think it happens everywhere. It's just that's one of the aspects of like where software development is not. It's not just about writing the software. It's about choreographing changes. Reaching a lot of jobs is just getting other people to do their job. Yes, although we say like just about getting them to do their job, that almost makes it sound like they're being lazy and they don't want to do it. But I find what I mean more by that is like often people, the work people are doing has effects on other people's work, and it's more about like two people. Like one of the companies I did some consulting work for, they had this API endpoint, and it was always returning the wrong data. And for like 6 months, they would go, like, someone else reported this, like, hey, this thing is wrong. It's like not sorting the data correctly. And then the other person would look into it, and then they'd be like, okay, it's fixed. And then the original person who reported it is like, it's not fixed. And then they'd be like, oh, okay, we'll look into it. And then they're like, yeah, we're working on it, and they'll fix it. And then it didn't get fixed. And then there's some confusion about like, oh, okay, the thing you want to do is actually impossible, so we won't be able to do this. And they're like, no, it should be possible because of this and that. And then, so it just required getting these people in a room together, and they're not able to communicate with each other. It's like both of them will talk past each other, and then you have to be able to have the insight to understand how both parties are miscommunicating with each other. So it's like a bit of it, like having the insight to understand the deficits in two different people's communication style. And then like the success cases at the end of the meeting, they'll be like, oh, okay, that's what you want. Yeah, we can do that. That's easy. And then that resolves like a 6-month back and forth long email chain about people being linked to, no, we can't do this, we don't need to do this and stuff. Helping them understand what their job is. Yeah, it's it's the kind of difficult higher order aspect of getting work done. Consultant is the PM. Yeah, I guess it depends on the work you're doing. You kind of just have to be whatever is needed to drive the project to completion. Sometimes that involves talking to people. Sometimes it involves like negotiating with other teams. Sometimes it's just like it's just a purely software development thing. Like it may not be, like on one of the projects I worked in, it was basically just, it was just me working on it. There was like several other people who tried to take over the work and were not able to successfully. I think they worked on it and they're like, this is a spaghetti code mess, and then they just like abandoned it. So I had to take over it and kind of talk to some people and ask the previous person what he was trying to do to get in a picture of like where the project was. And then they had all these diagrams about like how the project worked. It was like one of those whiteboard diagrams, but like, how would you design this system? It uses this cloud service and S3 and processes the data and it does that. And they had some diagrams that like explained how it worked. But then if you actually looked at the code, that was not the way it worked. So for that project, it was just about like figuring out how it actually worked. Trying to get good at info security gap analysis with CISSP. I'm actually not even familiar with that acronym. Thank you for clarifying. Yeah, I assume sometimes it's difficult to get people to just do the work, but I think for any place hiring, doing any kind of vetting for hiring is probably gets rid of the lazy people who just don't want to work pretty easily. Then another big issue is often see and I've worked with some people at companies who they don't have any debugging skills, and to make it even worse, they'll make a change, or they'll have a bug in their software. It's like otherwise working, but then like, I don't know, database connection will fail or something, and then they're like, oh, this thing failed, that's because of this, but they misattribute where the problem is, and then they start making random changes that cause even more breakage in the code, and then they see that breakage and they're like, oh, that's because of this, and then they just keep going further and further away and making more and more changes and not verifying them. That those people can be very difficult to work with. Disliked working with PMs because they are oblivious. Yeah, I found when I was there, I actually found it difficult to get time with them. Like we'd have things we need to, like the manager would just say like, get this feature done. And I'm like, okay, what's the feature? And then so I have like specifications, but then there's contradictions or it's like not complete. And then so I need to talk to PM, project manager, to like specify requirements, and it's difficult to even get a meeting with him. Yeah, still wrong. Java can't implicitly coerce int long. It might be because I have like warning errors on. All right, the rendering is not working at all. And that's why it doesn't work. It's because I didn't implement it. Write some assert false. Yeah, I should have put usually on. Actually, I've developed a habit of in Java. I can't remember what context it was in. I think it might have been in it might have just been with like Tomcat server or something. But I remember on one Java project, I was writing all these asserts, and then none of them were throwing, and it was because there was some like default setting to make so assertion failures don't assert. It doesn't crash the program. They're like turned off by default. I think it might have been with Tomcat server. So after that, I decided to never use assert again in Java and just use throw. All software should always automatically implement stuff that says not done yet for the object function API. Yeah, I think people like there's the concept of test-driven development, but for certain kinds of projects, like writing tests is a lot of work. It takes the time you take to write the test. It's time you're not writing the code. So I've often thought it should be named for us. I often program by assertion failure driven development. So I implement the simplest case. So either the program will return a correct output, or it will crash with an assertion failure. So you can just like check, say like if we're in this simple case, then just do the thing, and then the else cases just always throw exception. It's writing Rust when you quit AWS. Does AWS use Rust now? Trailblazing 5 says hello. How's it going? Test driven equals more money. Is it though? I guess if you're on your own project and you wanna just get it done instead of just putting in the hours. Behavior-driven development is best for meetings, generating meetings. All right, that's looking better. So it's getting there. What are the most common problems, design errors, when people switch from coding in a procedural paradigm to objective-oriented programming? Let's say moving from C to Java. I'm not really sure I have enough data points to answer that. Because I have not... I could speculate about the types of mistakes you'd make, but I don't think I've seen enough people make that transition. Woodchip says, sure, I don't know how to pronounce that. Sure, so little. Yep, that is indeed. Is that, where did you see that? That is definitely a block in the game. I guess probably in the inventory. Element in your game? Yeah. Someone asked. There was another type of gem someone asked for, but I said that to make it consistent, I'm going to add things by cast number, which is like a chemical standard system. Yeah, I guess that's where you saw it, right there. Rodor and Demon and Go. The GC was struggling to keep a consistent memory profile, which led us to writing no allocating code. Alloc all memory up front. It was a pain, so we all ported it to rest. Consultings love agile and short sprints. It's easy to bill for hours when nothing's planned, and half the time is burned on ceremonies. Yeah, I mean, if your client is like the government or something, or someone with an infinite amount of money, that can work. For a lot of the stuff that I've consulted for, it's like all private businesses that are struggling, so they're always on like a runway, and there's always significant pressure to actually get meaningful stuff done. I found the other thing about agile is that like every company has a different definition of what agile means. What is your definition of agile? I try to avoid making my own definition. Like if I work somewhere and then if they say, oh, we do agile, then I'll probably just ask them to elaborate on that. Because there's no... It's interesting because people seem to get into like borderline like religious arguments about like software development methodology, and everyone seems to have their own like way that they think is the best way to write a piece of software, which usually is it's based on like their own small sample size of experiences, and it's kind of amusing how people can get into like really heated arguments about like, oh, you're not doing real agile, but it's just a made up word. Always hear when something fails that it wasn't true agile. Yeah, that's exactly it. Why have you decided to become an online merchant? And why Shopify? I decided... Well, I've had the store for years. I didn't really think too much about it. I mean, my original ambition has always been to build a business. Doing online stuff has been kind of doing like the social media stuff. To me, it's not really an end in itself. I consider that more of like a method of marketing. Originally, I thought it might make sense for getting like consulting leads, but I now no longer think. I think even when I kind of decided to stop actively looking for that, it was bad then, but it's only, the economy has only gotten worse for that type of work. And the question about Shopify, I chose Shopify because Shopify has a mechanism to sync the products so that they can theoretically show up on the ads that are under your YouTube videos. And I had that working for a week until Google like disabled all my merchant account stuff. So I gotta like, it's a whole process to go through to get that re-enabled. And I don't know, I'm not even sure if they'll let me do it again. Robert wants to be free. Doesn't everyone want to be free? How was the Canadian economy 20 years ago? It was a great immigration destination for Eastern Europe. But now, based on the news, at least it seems something went wrong. I mean, it's hard to answer. It seems like all Western countries are really going through a difficult time now. It seemed like looking back, I didn't realize it at the time, but 2015 actually seemed to be the year when like something switched and everything really, like there seemed to be some significant geopolitical shift or something. There's I don't know. I think there are pockets of people here who are still doing well. The the rate of immigration that we've had has been like completely off the charts, and it has changed the country in ways that I don't even think we're beginning to understand. Like we literally have like 10 times the immigration that we had years ago. And and it used to be all high skilled people, but now it's like, it seems like everyone, it seems like the demographic changes like every year almost. The tariffs and stuff are hitting us. But a lot of our news seems to always focus on like, how bad Trump is, which, I'm not going to fault someone for criticizing Trump, but most of the narrative seems to be around like all of our problems are because of, Trump and the U.S. and stuff. But really, like, we're a sovereign country. We can fix our own problems, but we seem to only focus on what's going on in the U.S. to a degree that's like, I think even some like, there's some, I think it was a U.S. senator or someone in the U.S. said that Canadians watch a completely unhealthy amount of American news. So I think we could do more to focus on improving ourselves, but I don't know, we seem to insist on negotiating from a position of weakness. Not my family. You want security, you're willing to sacrifice their time, freedom for it. You can respect that. Yeah, security is important. Dookie up bias says, yo, how's it going? Exactly, want to be free. Basically been diving into works of Bernardo Kastrup. Analytical idealism. Follow your demon and living a fulfilling life. Pockets are everywhere, but following your story, journey in the number of hardships. I'm like, dude, up here you'd get a position at a reputable university, be set for life. I did work down at Amazon. I had a job offer from at AWS back in 2013, but I chose to stay here and start a business. Through meditation, I can connect to my daemon that exists in the timeless. It can predict the future. I don't know. I'm skeptical. I asked my AI, what is the meaning of existence? It said, the endless quest for power. It sounds like something that an AI would say. I'm now playing with old STM-F4 board, an audio converter. It works. I have my own USB sound card. It's fun. Sometimes I hear a strange noise. Maybe this MPU is not powerful. I'm not sure. I know from... I didn't realize this until I get it into like audio video work, but it's technically challenging, technologically challenging to get really high quality audio. You need lots of circuitry and stuff. I had a couple embedded systems things where I was trying to get audio, and I had these like little USB microphones and stuff, but the audio quality was always really bad. Working for Amazon doesn't seem like freedom. Well, any 9 to 5 where you're under someone else's mandate is by definition not freedom. Chat is wild. Yeah, the chat is wild sometimes. That's I guess how the internet is. Not trying to convince you, just living my truth. Well, you do you, I guess. I finished the platformer demo for my game. The Emscription worked and translated it to WASM, so it runs in my browser. Do you mind if I email you the link to check it out? You can. I'm pretty skeptical, but you can email me, but I'll probably ignore it because I don't like to click links unless it's from a trustworthy domain. I get a ton of spam every day and phishing emails and stuff. Currently working for an insurance software consulting, but I'm starting to suffocate. Contemplating on moving back to work as an engineer in civil engineering. That was my original major. Yeah, it's I don't know. I don't have any specific advice for you. It's hard to get everything that you want in life. Freedom and money. I replied, are you sure you don't mean the endless quest for energy? The AI said, whatever works for you. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that shows you how much conviction it has and how much it just says these like powerful sounding statements. And your question is like, whatever. Got AI to generate a song about Emscription and WASM. There was a song that went kind of viral on Twitter for a bit it was an AI generated song about the MIT license. And that was one of the first moments for me where it kind of clicked, where I'm like, wow, this AI thing is I think it's on YouTube. It doesn't have that many views. If you search for a AI MIT license song, it's actually pretty good to listen to. Okay, that's looking better. Do you still like making the game? Do you still like making the videos you make? Legit question from a person who wants to get into YouTube business. I do like making videos and explaining, breaking things down. It's kind of frustrating that some of the ones that I think are that I would like to have more views don't have as many views because I think they're important, but that's just how the YouTube algorithm works. I'd say like a lot of the process of making the video is not visible in the end product. So the countless hours editing and stuff, That's a really big part of it. And if you don't like that, then it's probably not for you. But if you like editing, then it could definitely work out. You don't moving back. If your life out of the work is full of other, you don't moving back if your life out of the work is full of other activities. I can't really parse that statement. Balancing freedom, money and love, meaning, wonderful children. Tried vibe coding yet? Not really. Like a couple times. It's on the to-do list. I just have many other things that I want to get through first. Vanishing point expectations, needs and wants. Before getting a job in IT, I thought it would be the best thing ever. However, after a year, cracks started forming. Yeah, it would be nice if it was, if it just kept getting more lucrative. It's a lot of work to get a software engineering degree. Just asked a question about how you feel where your channel is, even when you made millions of views. Listen, I just asked a question about how you feel. You feel where your channel is, even when you made millions of views. Is that really to do? I don't see it. Your other question must have fallen off. I'm missing lost track of the context on that. How's the Arctic? How's the construction on that Arctic Circle base going? It should be getting started any day now. I just need to get that $12 billion raised. The fundraising has been slowing down a little bit lately, but I'm just gonna keep thinking positive. I can't parse any of this chat right now. Yeah, I don't know. It's sometimes the YouTube algorithm is just like, oh, let's direct this group of people here. Yeah, there's a lot more philosophical, reflective chats tonight. It seems to be the theme. It's weird how the YouTube algorithm works. Like normally when I go live, it'll kind of trickle in like 1, 2, 3, 4. And when I first started tonight, it was at like 0 viewers for a little while, and now it's, I guess, ramping up. Dukes says milk ? Alexige says, aha, CRC is invalid. +++. I don't know. I can't make sense of that. Favorite Linux command is rm. Today I got some free space with it. That's good. MB, lol, but I like your vids. MB, what does MB stand for? Gotta pump those numbers up. 12 trillion. No, I gotta set realistic expectations. My bad. Okay. I wouldn't mind to spend 20 minutes a day liking content from a list. Your small reality shaping agency would wire me. Wouldn't mind spending 20 minutes a day liking content from a list. Your small reality shaping agency would wire me. Oh, for the influence campaign? For the cyber warfare command center? Just have a list of things that people like and topics to argue. Now we'd have bots for that. Get stuff that they can do it automatically. Okay, the list works. Again, in either direction. Let's see. All right, let's make sure it doesn't crash with no items. Robert, what is your PC setup right now? Windows or Windows subsystem for Linux? I currently run Ubuntu on most of my machines. So why did Google why did Google block you somewhere? You mean in Google Merchant Center? It said they believe there was misrepresentation. They have like a bunch of bots that go and that check. Like to have the store, you're supposed to have a privacy policy, a terms of use, a return policy, a shipping policy. You could have like all these policies, and they have to be like compliant with different countries and every country in the world that you ship to and stuff. And I think on one of them it said I had in my return policy or something, I said you can return it up to 45 days later, and then because it's really annoying, I have to specify all this information in Shopify, and then Shopify syncs the information to Google Merchant Center, but it only syncs some of the information. So I have to enter the same information twice into Google Merchant Center, but it also has to match, and it's a totally different like mechanism. So of course there's like inconsistencies that crop up, and then it just like if you get that like misrepresentation flag, then it disables all of your items. So it stops. Google Merchant Center will stop showing the ads on YouTube, which is that's the whole reason I set it up that way. You can still go to the Shopify store and get stuff though. What's the max concurrent viewers you've had on your streams? It got up to, it was over 100. I had over 100 a few times back when last Christmas or so. And then I think I guess once I started streaming more, the concurrent viewers went down quite a bit, and ever since I've been doing this series, I don't know, I'm kind of I'm always interested to know like what happens if you just push forward a bit longer and get more data. I was kind of curious to see if I would just get like random super chats here and there, like, you know, endlessly, like knowing how long it took to peter out. I think it was around day 100 or so. That's when the super chats mostly seemed to dry up. Although the YouTube algorithm changed around that time, so all of my activity on my channel, like the revenue globally is down quite a bit. But yeah, I'll probably, I don't know, maybe we'll see. I'll maybe do this series, continue this until at least Christmas or so. 17 viewers, but only 4 likes. Yeah, I don't know. I think if memory serves me, I checked like the average likes was like around 10 likes or something per stream for the last little while. No wonder the Klein bottle guy is a static HTML website. It's a store. You email them orders and wire money direct to an account or something like that. Oh yeah, the Klein bottle guy. Does he still sell Klein bottles? I should buy one. He also had super chat goals, which probably helped. Yeah, I think having specific goals is helps us set some goalposts. Robert, we need more hot takes. How bad is Windows? It's terrible. Actually, didn't they say it's the last version of Windows or something now? I haven't paid attention to it. Yeah, I guess when I don't know, maybe after I finish the next release of this, when I get the stupid list item thing finished, and then I can do. I mean, it's hard to give hot takes while you're coding and respond to ridiculous questions that come up in chat from time to time. MB, I click like. Now I know what that means. What are you doing right now? I'm currently working on developing a terminal-based video game. It's a video game you play in the Linux terminal where you spam the M key to mine blocks. What about using psychological conditioning, similarly to Ocelot from MGS4 to foster a successful Fortnite streamer persona? I think he still does. About that psychological conditioning. I don't know anything about that stuff. For Fortnite, I've never. I don't know enough about Fortnite to even be able to identify. I know it's a game, but don't know anything about it. Can I bind mining action to spacebar? Actually, you can. I did add yeah, there is someone asked to remap the keyboard to like a Dvorak to remap remap the movement keys. So I added a actually this thing at the end. Now it's not this is not the best format, because then when I added the escape for toggling the help menu. So this here is a literal escape character. So if you copy and paste this, if you actually want to change this mapping, you'll have to make sure you preserve this character. So like, hopefully, like if you have problems, just hopefully you know how to use a hex editor or anything to just check and verify. But as long as you preserve that character, because otherwise you won't be able to select the help menu. Ideally, I should make this, these should be encoded or something, but this works for now. And to change that, you could just specify a different user action config file. My users had me decouple key bindings from the code using config file. Yep, it's ideally it could be even more advanced, but this works for now. That's the whole point of this conditioning. You condition yourself to do that stuff normally. You never do. Something like Severance TV show. Or split personality disorder. I have no idea what you're talking about. Severance TV show. I don't watch TV. Oh yeah, I was going to test to make sure it works. My encoding uses escape. Yeah, it's another way to do it. I could go back and like rehash how to do that, but I won't bother for now. Will any vegetables be banned from Axel Hyberg? Anything else that would be banned? I don't know. I can't really see any good reason to ban certain vegetables, as long as they're delicious. Okay, that works. Now the next thing will be let's make this bigger. I guess certain vegetables probably wouldn't be banned, but it might be more challenging to grow certain vegetables. Some of them require just the right conditions. No pineapples then? That's not a strict rule, but if you can grow them, I mean, they'd be probably energy intensive to grow. What about engineering a new vegetable? That's a pretty neat idea. Although it'd have to be, I don't know. A project like that could possibly go off the rails, though. If it becomes a mutant vegetable that takes over all the other vegetables, it becomes an invasive vegetable. Dorlan Merville says hello. How's it going? Uses NLP to convince someone they want something specific for their birthday. Used the technique on my brother as a kid. Convinced him to want the video game you wanted. Oh, that's manipulative. Okay, there's a bug. The 2010 NLP craze. People claim to do bonker stuff with it. It worked, not sure if in itself or more as a novelty. I think I've heard that phrase, neuro-linguistic programming or something. It's not something I've ever looked into. Something is wrong. That's not good. Hopefully whatever is wrong will get fixed soon. Imagine a potato with a pearl that gets separated as easily as a banana or a tangerine peel. Oh, with a peel. I guess if you have potatoes that are fresh out of the garden, then it's pretty easy to peel them. You can just almost like rub them. Why would you peel a potato though? Because you can't eat the skins. Skin is the best bit? No way. Did you know that potato skins actually have like a poison in them? And I looked into it, and it's like an anti thing. It's a thing to kill bugs that try to bore into the potato. And I looked into it. I think it's called solanine or something. And I looked into it, and there's apparently like one person in history who has died from eating too many potato peels. He had like a pound of them or something. Delicious poison. Isn't that only when they go green? So I looked into this in depth because I think I got into an argument with someone about the green parts of potatoes. So the green part is where you see green. The green comes from the chlorophyll, but the chlorophyll happens on parts of the potato if it's like getting sunlight. So if part of the root is exposed, then you get the green part. And the part that's exposed is more likely to be irritated. So the areas where, like if you irritate part of the potato, that's where it gets more of this like solanine thing. It's because like a response, self-defense mechanism. And so the green parts are not necessarily poison, but they're correlated with parts that have the higher solanine content. Or so I remember reading many years ago when I looked into this matter. A better banana that you have to peel. Or better a banana that you have to peel like a potato. That'd be awful. A banana that you have to peel like a potato? Dukes says milk, question mark. Was it you who already asked that? Somebody already asked. Milk. Welcome to Science with Robert. Yeah, that's what everyone comes here for. How does a potato know when to start those roots? Like carpenters. And where are the live cells that can grow those roots? I'm not sure. Could I ask a plantologist? Problem I have with NLP these days is that you can't distinguish between it and synchronicities. I don't know the definition of that. Life is so filled with coincidences due to meditation. I have no opinion on that subject. So you're saying I won't die if I eat the green chip from the bag? No, I'm pretty sure you won't. But if you do, if you take like 100 bags, and then you specifically cut out only the green parts on the potato chips, and you only eat those. If you eat like 5 pounds of those, you might get sick. So don't do that. Try not to do that. It's good. You have to resist the temptation. So the problem to fix here is A synchronicity is a series of coincidences that are so improbable that it's very difficult to not attribute to a non-local cause. Jung and quantum physicist Wolfgang Pauli studied them. Wolfgang Pauli, is that the physicist for whom the Pauli exclusion principle is named after? He studied them. Interesting. I don't know, for that kind of thing. There's always the possibility that there's some like where you can say that things are improbable, but sometimes that's just something you don't know. But the situation and something can seem improbable, but maybe it's just like I don't know, there's some kind of filtering mechanism, or there's like a third unknown variable you don't know about that's causing your correlated events. Statistically significant results. Statistics is very difficult. In my opinion, it's like the most difficult branch of math. Because statistics is one of the few areas where you can get a result, and a wrong result is kind of indistinguishable from a correct one. They wrote the Pauli-Jung conjecture. I'll have to Google that if I remember. I say that maybe you are unconsciously influencing your memories and modifying them, attributing significance to ordinary things. Form of self-delusion that isn't harmful. Are you saying that I am, or that Hack Matrix is unconsciously influencing your memories? I'd assume that everyone probably has. I'm sure by like other kinds of thoughts, you would interact. You would influence what's already in your brain, changing weighting connections and so forth. My understanding from meditation is that your judgment actually determines if it is just random or if it is God. You have free will. I don't know. This too philosophical for tonight. Anyone here ever get 2FA code that it's all the same number? I do notice a bit of repetition in them sometimes. I almost wonder if they probably don't like to specifically make them so that like they maybe they deliberately decrease some of the entropy, or like they there's probably certain ones that they're more likely to give you so that people don't type them wrong. Right, the down movement is not correct. Think of Schrodinger's cat. Cat is both dead and alive. In the context in which the cat's wave function is collapsed determines what timeline of a particular environment experiences. It sounds like you're talking about like the many worlds interpretation, that like the universe splits on every different. The universe pursues every possible potential outcome. I don't know. I think the jury's still out on a lot of that stuff because we just don't have enough. We don't have enough good experimental evidence. We don't have really good models for that. Or I should correct that. I think that one of the big problems with that kind of bleeding edge quantum physics stuff, we just don't do the experiments very much. Everything we know is like from the Large Hadron Collider and stuff, with only like, high energy particle collisions and stuff. Yeah, I think if we sat down and constructed better physical experiments, we'd maybe get some better insights into like, quantum nature of sensation and consciousness. Okay, this is not. There's too many super deep philosophical texts to read. Actually, I should probably call it a night. I didn't get that much work done, but I got a little bit of progress. Standard model is cooked. I mean, it served us pretty well so far. We just have a few details to iron out. Scared Robert away? I don't mind these discussions, but I don't know. These kinds of discussions can easily. I didn't even read the last few chats. Superpositions. Quantum phenomena. Microscopic. I mean, in my opinion, we shouldn't be the Schrodinger's cat experiment. That's a thought experiment from like 100 years ago. Why are we still talking about this thought experiment? Why don't we just do actual experiments? We need way more. We need more good experiment designers. Like even in the last few years, there's been a few. I think like even in the last several years, someone dreamed up like a new variant on the double slit experiment, and they had some like new insights from that. I forget exactly what the punchline was, but instead of more philosophy, we need more people to set up optical experiments. Can't just discard a phenomenon because it doesn't make sense. Superposition exists. Dilation of massless particles exists. Yeah, I mean, I don't discard any of it. Evidence trumps everything. Keep adding more particles. Yep, just one more particle, and it'll be fixed. That's why they need to go to taxpayers. Just be like, please, guys, I just need $12 billion to build an accelerator for one more particle, and then we'll be done. Well, chat seems to be having lots of interesting discussions. I'm almost feel bad ending it there, but that'll be it for tonight. And tomorrow we will resume from where we left off tonight, and I will hopefully eventually get this stupid scrollable list feature done with. All right, have a good night, guys.